This 12.5 million rand mansion has a past soaked in crime, power, and controversy. Once owned by convicted Czech underworld boss Radovan Krejcir, now being sold by Paul O'Sullivan, a man whose name exploded in Parliament after a single speech on 6th July. A speech that exposed him, triggered accusations, and ended in a defamation lawsuit. So today, we're not guessing, we're breaking down the house, the money, the politics, and the fallout. Let's talk facts. You're watching Mzansi PoliScope, where we analyze power, politics, and accountability in South Africa. Subscribe, like, and share. Your support keeps this channel independent and focused on facts.
Now, you've mentioned a DA member and an AfriForum member who attended your meeting.
Yes.
At one of the most notorious gang star who I think is still serving his sentence. Am I right?
Yes.
Then who is that house belonging to the state, or there's somebody, there's a family there of Cajun, if I'm right about the name?
It's now Paul O'Sullivan's house.
Let's start with the property itself, because this is where money, power, and perception collide. The mansion is located in Bedfordview, one of Johannesburg's most exclusive and security-controlled suburbs, known for luxury estates, high net worth residents, and premium property prices. This home is currently listed at 12.5 million rand, placing it firmly in the elite real estate bracket. According to property listings, this is a 4-story luxury residence designed for privacy, comfort, and security. It features 4 large bedrooms, 5 modern bathrooms, and expansive open-plan living areas built for executive-level living. One of the standout features is a glass elevator connecting multiple levels, a rare luxury that signals serious wealth. There is also a private wine cellar, ideal for collectors and entertainers, and a walk-in swimming pool that blends indoor and outdoor living. In a country facing load shedding and water shortages, the home includes a backup generator and a borehole, making it largely self-sufficient, a major selling point for buyers concerned about infrastructure instability. Add staff quarters, high-end finishes, and panoramic views, and this is not just a house, it's a statement of lifestyle, status, and long-term security. And that's exactly why this property attracts attention far beyond real estate circles. But this luxury comes with a history that still unsettles many South Africans.
Is it a coincidence that Mr. O'Sullivan owns the house of a drug kingpin, gangster?
It is correct. Where we had a meeting, that house was bought by Paul O'Sullivan.
So how did Paul O'Sullivan end up owning a mansion with such a controversial past? What is known from property records and media reports is this. Paul O'Sullivan did not buy the Bedfordview mansion directly from Radovan Krejcir. By the time O'Sullivan entered the picture, the property had already been seized following Krejcir's criminal convictions and removed from his control.
Well, Radovan Krejcir has been sentenced to an effective 35 years in prison. The High Court in Johannesburg's Judge Colin Lamont passed sentence after the Czech fugitive and 2 co-accused were convicted of drug dealing, kidnapping and attempted murder. The state has asked for a 28 years sentence. Krejcir has been in prison for the last 2 years.
The house was later sold back onto the open market, reportedly through a distressed or auction-related process as part of asset recovery linked to Krejcir's downfall. O'Sullivan then purchased the property through a legal transaction, with ownership formally transferred through the deeds office. While exact purchase figures have not been officially disclosed in public records, multiple reports indicate that O'Sullivan acquired the house at a price significantly lower than its current 12.5 million rand valuation, reflecting its history, condition at the time, and the nature of post-forfeiture sales. That in itself is not illegal. Buying seized or distressed properties is a common practice in high-end real estate. However, critics argue that when someone builds a public profile around fighting corruption, transparency becomes part of the price of credibility. The question is not whether the purchase was lawful, but whether the optics match the message. And in politics, optics matter. To understand why Paul O'Sullivan suddenly became the center of national attention, we have to go back to 6th July, the day this political storm truly began. It was KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi who first went public. In a widely watched address, he raised serious concerns about external interference in policing and justice processes, and for the first time openly named Paul O'Sullivan. This was not a social media rant, it was a senior law enforcement official speaking on record in an official capacity. Mkhwanazi questioned who authorized O'Sullivan's involvement in sensitive matters, why a private individual appeared to have access to police and prosecutorial processes, and whether such involvement undermined the rule of law. The speech landed like a bombshell. Almost immediately, the political temperature rose. Only after this speech did Paul O'Sullivan respond publicly, accusing Mkhwanazi of corruption and misconduct. Those counter-accusations escalated the matter from political debate into a legal confrontation. Mkhwanazi denied the claims and filed a defamation lawsuit, insisting that allegations must be tested in court, not traded through media statements. From that moment, the issue stopped being about personalities and became about authority, accountability, and who gets to police the police.
First thing is, he's not a member of the task force. So why? Let him explain. Why is he wearing task force uniform? Why did he have 6 men on either side of him wearing task force uniform with masks on and brandishing firearms? It was a media presentation. So what, was he afraid of the media? What did he think would happen to him at that conference? How much did it cost the taxpayer for him to be standing there? And by the way, he had pretty much the whole of the KZN Provincial Police Service there with him. So they were all there on a Sunday. He calls his impromptu press conference and he lies to the media. And we need to get to the bottom of it. But I can tell you, he's triggered something which may just be the end of his life in the police service.
After the 6th July speech, the situation escalated fast. Paul O'Sullivan responded publicly by accusing KZN Police Commissioner Mkhwanazi of corruption, abuse of power and misconduct. These were serious allegations made in the public domain, and they immediately raised the stakes. Mkhwanazi strongly denied the claims. He argued that the accusations were reckless, unsupported by tested evidence, and damaging to both his personal reputation and the office he holds. As a result, Mkhwanazi filed a defamation lawsuit against Paul O'Sullivan, insisting that the matter be resolved through the courts, not media statements. But the legal battle did not end there. Paul O'Sullivan, in turn, filed his own defamation case, arguing that statements made about him, including suggestions that he was unlawfully interfering in police matters, were false and harmful to his name and work. At this point, the conflict became a full-blown legal standoff. Two powerful figures, two opposing versions of events, and courts now positioned as the final arbiters of truth. The fallout was immediate. Public trust became divided. Political pressure intensified, and Parliament stepped in, seeking clarity on allegations, counter-allegations, and the broader question of accountability. What began as a speech turned into lawsuits, and lawsuits turned into a national debate about power, influence, and transparency. With allegations and lawsuits flying in both directions, Parliament stepped in, not to take sides, but to seek clarity. An ad hoc parliamentary committee was established to examine claims of interference, misconduct, and the broader implications for South Africa's justice system. Paul O'Sullivan was formally summoned to appear and explain his role, his actions, and the allegations made both by and against him. O'Sullivan declined to appear in person. Instead, he indicated that he was abroad and cited serious safety concerns as the reason for his absence.
So reports that you fled or you feared for your life and you left South Africa, are those true or are they untrue?
No, it's absolutely untrue. Completely untrue.
So the Ad Hoc Committee wants you in person, you're happy to do it virtually. There's no way you're going to come back in time for the Ad Hoc Committee. What do you say to the parliamentarians who are demanding that you must see them face to face?
Well, you know, the reality of it is I booked my flights. I'm doing my things overseas, which I do every year. And I've offered to attend virtually. I've made it clear that even if I was in South Africa, I would not attend in person. Why? Why are they so keen to have me there in person? It leads me to believe that they mixed in with these criminals and they're conspiring with them to get me into a particular position where they can have me shot. And then, by the way, I'll probably be shot before I give evidence. So I'm quite happy to do it virtually. And there's absolutely nothing. Their own rules provide for it being done virtually. And that's it. So those crooks in Parliament that want me to get there in person, in Irish we say, pog my horn. And I'm not going to translate that, but I'm not going there.
Legally, this does not amount to guilt, but politically, absence carries weight. In South Africa, public accountability is built on presence, answering questions openly, under scrutiny, and on the record. Critics argue that refusing to appear physically before Parliament undermines the very transparency O'Sullivan demands from others. Supporters counter that safety threats in the country are real and that no individual should be forced to risk their life to satisfy political processes. Between these two positions lies perception, and perception shapes public trust. Whether justified or not, O'Sullivan's absence has become part of the story, raising a deeper question: who gets to demand accountability and who must submit to it? So, why does this Bedfordview mansion matter right now? Because timing matters. A sale of a 12.5 million rand luxury property during an active political and legal storm is never viewed in isolation. In South Africa, asset sales at moments of heightened scrutiny often trigger questions, not necessarily of legality, but of intention. For critics, the decision to sell raises concerns of distance from public accountability, from parliamentary oversight, and possibly from the country itself. When combined with O'Sullivan's continued stay abroad, the optics suggest a strategic repositioning rather than a routine property transaction. Supporters argue the opposite, that the sale is about security, risk management, and personal safety in an environment they describe as hostile. Both interpretations exist. Neither can be proven conclusively at this stage. But one fact is undeniable. This house has become a symbol of wealth intersecting with politics, of power without office, and of unresolved questions. And in a country shaped by past scandals, symbols carry weight far beyond bricks and mortar. So now, the question goes to you, Mzansi. Is Paul O'Sullivan a man acting out of genuine fear or a man avoiding direct accountability at a critical moment? Does the sale of this 12.5 million rand luxury mansion signal coincidence or calculation? We've laid out the facts, the timeline, and the competing claims. Now, the debate belongs to the public. Drop your view in the comments, respectfully. Like this video, subscribe to Mzansi PoliScope, and share it widely. Because real accountability only exists when citizens stay informed, engaged, and asking hard questions.